Is your peg stuck? Are you really struggling to turn your pegs? Don't bite them to turn them. That's not a good idea. People have actually done that. Take a look at this peg. Isn't that crazy? Don't do that. There's a really good solution, and it's called peg paste. Today I'm going to show you how to put peg paste on your pegs, and then I will also tell you a little bit about different kinds of pegs. Now, what causes pegs to stick? There's different things. One can be swelling, so if there's more humidity, the timber of the pegs and the peg hole can swell and the peg gets stuck. Also, it may have just lost a bit of the peg paste and started just getting sticky. It's quite normal. It can happen after a while, and usually when you get your instrument serviced, especially if you get it serviced once a year, you probably won't have that problem. But if your pegs are sticking, the solution is really peg paste. So I will show you how to put the peg paste on, and also if the pegs are stuck in a way that you can totally not actually move them, you're going to need to go to a Violinmaker and get that fixed, because you don't want to damage your peg or your instrument to get the peg out. So the first thing you need to do is you need to take down the string. You do one string at a time, and just remember, when you take down strings, it actually, the bridge will shift a little bit, so you need to make sure your bridge stays straight. So keeping your bridge straight, I've shown you in other videos, you can adjust your bridge by pushing your thumbs together, holding at the fingerboard and the tailpiece, and just straightening it, like pushing the bridge just very slightly. All right, let's take the string off and take a look. Okay, so you take the the string tension off and you take out the peg, and the first thing you need to check is that the peg fits all around, because you need the peg hole as well as the peg to be totally round. The timber shrinks differently in one direction than it does in the other direction, and so if the pegs were a little bit fresh, the peg would, or if the timber on the violin was a little bit fresh, it may have shrunk a bit and caused the holes to be oval. And if that's the case, again, you need to go to the Violinmaker. The way you check is if you want the shiny part on the peg to be very, very even all around. And if you want to be really pedantic about it, you can actually turn the peg fast in the hole a little bit, and when you're turning it, it creates friction, and now you can actually feel a bit of warmth. If you hold that against your lip, you can feel a bit of warmth, and the area that didn't touch is a bit cooler. Isn't that amazing? Little Violinmaker trick. All right, so this peg fits very well. You can see it's shiny all around. It's beautifully shiny. But I'll show you a peg that's oval. So you can see that this peg isn't 100% round and is slightly oval, and so if that's the case, you actually need to get it properly fitted by a Violinmaker. But if it's working, then you end up with a peg with really nice even shininess all around. So it's actually really easy. What you use peg paste, and I recommend Hill's peg paste. I really like it. I've been using it through my entire 37 years of my career. And it works beautifully. There are other types of peg paste. Now, Hills were around, W.E. Hills and Sons. They were actually around when I started, but they sold the business or quit the business and went into real estate, and then more recently someone actually just bought the name and restarted the business. But I don't think there are any Hills working there. But I love the writing on the back. It says the original Hill composition for pegs which have ceased to turn smoothly, to be applied sparingly. Now, I agree with the sparing application. That's really important. All you do, it's you find the shiny bits on the peg and you draw on them with a peg paste, and it's kind of, it's like a lipstick, but you draw on them like you're drawing with a crayon. So you only draw on the shiny bits. Don't like cover the entire thing in peg paste because that's just messy and wastes peg paste. So I just go like this. This was actually my first job when I helped my dad in the workshop as a little boy. I would have been maybe 8 years or 9 years old, and he said, this is a job I can do. You just draw around with the peg paste like this, and you do the other side as well. So I have now covered both shiny bits with peg paste. Now you take the peg and you put it back in the hole without putting on strings. Okay, so you put it back in the peg hole, okay, like this, and you don't push it right in. You actually leave it in really loose and start turning it a lot. So you turn it. So by turning it right now, you're actually spreading the peg paste around in the peg hole. And then as you're turning it continuously, you just push the peg in slightly more. Fantastic. Now it's actually turning beautifully and smoothly. And that's all you need to do. And now you just put on the string. And remember, when you put on the string, you need to wind it close to the peg box, because when it's wound close to the peg box, it automatically pulls the peg back in so the peg won't slip. A terrible thing are sticky pegs, but another more annoying thing are slipping pegs. Alright, now I'll put the string back in. Here we go. I put the string through the hole. I wind the peg half a turn, and then I wind the string over the top of itself, put it right up against the edge, the peg box, and then just keep turning and make sure that it's not too tight against the peg box. So you want it really neatly wound. So now it's really neatly wound up against the peg box here, as you can see, and the peg, see how smoothly the peg turns? Now you can easily tune with when you're holding the instrument here. I usually recommend tuning down first and then up, so like this, because you don't want to tune too high, but tuning a bit too far down and then slowly going up, it's easier to slowly go up once you've loosened the peg by turning it down, because you do kind of have to loosen it, because it's this really delicate balance between the peg staying in and the peg turning. So you obviously don't want the peg to turn too easily, because if it turns too easily, the peg will just slip. Okay, so now it actually works really beautifully. See how easy it is to tune? So that's like a well-fitted peg, and a well-lubricated peg, as well as a peg that where the strings are wound on just right. It's super easy to tune. You probably don't, like, some people like fine-tuning pegs, which you can get, like you can get those Whitner pegs and other ones, that planetary pegs that have kind of a fine-tuning system built in. But well-fitting pegs, like if the pegs fit really well, they are actually really easy to tune. There are usually 3 different types of pegs. So you've got boxwood. These are boxwood pegs. They are the softest pegs, and they will actually squish through. So I try and make the boxwood pegs a little bit longer when I fit them in the first place, to make sure there's a bit of room for them to kind of compact. Then there are rosewood pegs, and then ebony pegs are by far the hardest pegs. So these are rosewood pegs here. See, they're sort of a brown color. And then you have ebony pegs, which are a black color. So these are ebony pegs. Great, so now you should have all the tools to help yourself if your pegs are sticking. Obviously, if you can't unstick them, or if they're oval, you will have to go to a Violinmaker to get your pegs refitted. If they don't fit at all, you might just need new pegs. Like sometimes you get like literally, pegs that look like this. This is like a really badly fitted peg. and you may either have to get them refitted or just get a whole new set of pegs. But when your pegs work smoothly, it is such a joy. Anyway, remember to like and subscribe, and make sure you get your notifications when you subscribe, like the little bell. Have fun tuning your violin. It should be a whole lot easier now. All you got to do is buy some peg paste and keep making beautiful music. All right, see you guys. Bye.